Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to Shifting Lanes Garage. My name's Chad, and that is my 2015 Mustang GT, and yes, this is my very messy garage. Today, we're actually headed back to Blue Sky, and as much as I want it to be to put what's in that box on the car, we ran into some problems. Stay tuned. Alrighty, so real quick, first things first, I get asked all the time, Chad, your Mustang's pretty loud and rowdy. What does that sound like for your neighbors? I'm glad you asked. Let's find out. All right, so it's not too bad. I mean, only one of my neighbors say it shakes the house slightly. Yeah, today we have some good news, some bad news, and then hopefully the boys at Blue Sky give me some good news. The good news is last time you saw this car, I thought I had the wrong tires. It turns out our 888Rs are designed to have that weird tread pattern, and they're just noisy as all hell tires. I didn't know, probably should have done my research a little bit better, but the upshot is that the tires that are on the car are good. The bad news is, kind of had some issues at the track. I did a run and, well, this happened. Yes, that is the new from Corsa Extreme Performance Ram Air exhaust setup. Yeah, it's not supposed to look like that. As you're looking at to the side of me, I have the best friends in the world. That's Lou and Courtney. You've seen them in some of my other videos. We got the car fixed, took it out, went on another run. Yes, I know. Greg absolutely treed me, absolutely out 60 foot, which we knew was going to happen because that car launches ridiculously hard for what it is. And I lost the race. And not to sound like I'm sort of placating my ego or anything like that, but that's part of the problem. That run you just saw was a 13.4 at 114 mile an hour. For comparison, the last time I was at the track with the car in an NA setup, headers, exhaust, intake manifold, tune, etc., we did a 13 flat at 115 miles an hour. So we are way slow. Now, the ET, whatever, could have been a bad launch, bad shift. I did hit the rev limiter a little bit, I think on the 2-3 shift. But that mile an hour is way low. With the setup we have now, we should be easily into 120 plus miles an hour, and we weren't. And it wasn't like I lifted super early. It wasn't like I babied her through the whole run. It wasn't like any of that stuff. So after talking to a couple of my buddies, Jeff at Blue Sky being one of them, and another guy who happens to be a pretty seasoned drag racer, we concluded that the Mustang was down on power. And that's why we are headed up to see Jeff over at Blue Sky, the man responsible for building the car. An absolutely epic shop. If you haven't watched the series, go check it out because it's basically heaven on earth. He's going to take a look at it, hopefully give us a clean bill of health, and then we can get back to enjoying the Mustang. So we have the car up in the air. You can see here where we were scraping. I'm with Jeff over here at Blue Sky. I hear you have a YouTube channel now.
We do. It's at Blue Sky Performance on YouTube, yeah.
They already have a few long form videos and stuff like that up. So guys, definitely go check them out. Go subscribe because, I mean, you only get a glimpse with my car of what they can do, but I mean, come on. So initial thoughts, you've seen the video, you've kind of heard what happened and everything like that. Initial thoughts on what's going on here. We obviously have the O2 sensors out.
Yeah, we pulled the O2s out because I feel like what we're gonna see is at least one of these cats clogged up or starting to fall apart and creating an exhaust restriction. Just for it to shoot off the way it did, there's pressure building in here, and we were also down on mile an hour at the track, which, you know, it makes sense that we're down on power and it's shooting off the exhaust. Kind of makes sense that the cats might be clogged on it.
So that's a borescope?
This is a borescope, and instead of pulling all the exhaust off because it's hot, because we just rolled in here off the street, we pulled out the oxygen sensors, and we're gonna take a peek back in the pipe from the oxygen sensor hole to look at those cats to see what we got going there. If I ever get it to turn on, I might need to get a new set of batteries for this.
It's never easy. So obviously I'm gonna watch, Jeff's gonna take care of that, and then hopefully get closer to an answer, because I'm sick of babying this thing. Yeah. I wanna be testing out the tires. And like I said earlier in the video, the tread patterns, it's supposed to be that way, which the first time I've ever heard anything like that.
Asymmetrical tires are confusing. About half the people that we do asymmetricals for will say, wait, you put it on backwards, or it's confusing because it doesn't make any sense, but I'm no engineer, so they work clearly, otherwise they wouldn't sell them. Yeah, well, like I mentioned in the last video, I have some scar tissue there because when I bought this car, the dealership had
the rear tires, which were 275s at the time, which the front tires are now 10 millimeter wider than on the right side, and then on the front tires 250s or 255s, I forget at this point, on that side. So it was a circle track car. I can't even imagine
what that felt like.
Yeah. Well, it was fine, and then as soon as I lit off,
it would die.
It wanted to move.
Something looks fishy over here. Like it should be, and this is looking through a screen, through a borescope, but it should be perfectly round. There's something going on maybe over here with it, where it almost, maybe it's starting to twist in there. Because they'll actually sometimes you can hear them rattle around in there. We'll see it rattle on the screen. But next step, we're gonna pull we did the easy diag part here. We gotta go a little further. We'll pull the mid pipe back and actually get our true eyes in there and not look through a television set. The cats look fine. We dropped down the mid pipe here. We took a peek inside, and the little honeycomb inside there. So that can all start to, when they start to clog, they usually start cracking. It all starts to fall apart onto itself. I don't see that happening, so it looks like this, why it flew off, that I wouldn't be able to tell you. From this.
Excellent news.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, is there a chance that like somehow these work themselves loose or something? Maybe?
It's possible. It's definitely possible. I mean, they usually hang on there pretty good. I mean, if this exhaust tucks up pretty high too. I don't think you scrape over stuff with this exhaust.
Right, but wouldn't you see like an impact hard enough to jack it? It would show itself here. Yeah.
This is just from coming back down the road.
That as we touched on earlier. So what's next?
So next step, we'll put this back together. We'll go out. I'll hook the computer up. We'll do a data log, and we'll just compare what we're seeing now to what we saw when we initially tuned the car.
Gotcha.
And see if there's a change. If there's no change, you know, this was a freak event. It just blew off for whatever reason. You know, mile an hour. Again, if you did let off, the cars dive pretty hard. Like you're in here, you let off. There's a lot of wind resistance. So could you have lost 15 mile an hour, 10 mile an hour from letting off?
If the computer says it's all right, we'll start driving her again.
The data log won't lie. You know, it'll tell us what's up. So that'll be the next step after this.
And I'm in an unfamiliar position. I don't think I've ever actually sat in maybe twice.
It's weird.
And I got Jeff behind the wheel. We're gonna do some data logging, so some mildish street pulls.
Yeah, we're gonna do like a we'll do third, so we just make sure we have traction. We don't want to have traction control on because that's going to skew with what the data log is going to show us. But we want to just see if something changed. We have the data logs when the car was tuned. Let's see if it's still healthy, whatever happened, you know, why we were down on power potentially at the track.
That never gets old. Well, I haven't got, you told me not to get on it. Oh my gosh.
Feels good. And that was we just ran it in a red liner.
Oh, that we went all the way to red line? Or?
Yeah, it was like 7,800 or so.
Nice. That felt quick. You were just saying
it felt good. We're making power. We know we're close. We're just gonna now head back to the shop, review the data logs, and just make sure that they match up with each other.
Right.
And then it's gonna be down a little bit just because the DA is super high today.
Yeah.
So the car is gonna feel slower just because it is. It's probably making less boost and everything. So, but as long as we're within a reasonable percentage, we should be. I think we're gonna be in good shape in that.
Yeah, Greg knows bad air all too well. He made, I think it was like 30 horsepower less with the downpipe and a tune, and then that actually brings up an interesting point. They just poured E85 right into his car. It's not a flex fuel car, just because I guess it was pulling ignition because it was sensing ping or knock or what have you.
Right.
So wouldn't that be lean if you had too much E85 in it?
It would, yeah. If they went too far with it, it could go lean, but you also have, you know, to a point, the car is able to add fuel. So if it sees that it's lean, the oxygen sensor is actually going to throw fuel on top of it. It sounds like kind of they used it like, I'll put like Mustang in a car to up the octane. They were just trying to get a little more octane out of it to see if it was a true fuel issue. So like, now we know with this fuel, there's no reason it should be detonating. So we know if we should adjust the tune from that point.
Gotcha. Yeah, and
but yeah, if you went too far, because the 85 requires about 30% more fuel, you would run out of pump, injector, and
right
into the computer.
Huh. Interesting. So now, basically, it's time to look at the numbers and hope that nothing's too bad. So we're gonna head back to the shop. What did the computer tell us?
What did the computer tell us? The computer told us that everything is pretty much where it should be, other than the fact that our intake air temperatures were about 30 degrees higher than when we tuned the car. So that makes a pretty big difference on power. We were also down about a 3.5 at timing, which is because the IATs were that much higher. So as the intake air temp goes up, the computer's gonna pull timing out of it, which is gonna lessen our horsepower. Seat of the pants, the car felt good. Health check shows that everything's good. It seems like an IAT thing. Next time, when Chad's at the track, we're gonna set it up and run the data log so that we just know what the computer did at that pass, at that time. So if things don't go as we want next time, we'll have some more intel on it.
Yes, so now I'm gonna be that guy with, well, not the laptop, but like, you could say it's...
Luckily, he can do it all through this little N gauge.
Yeah, so I have
the laptop's to review it, but this thing's super powerful.
And then I just send Jeff and he goes, yay, nay, or wants to drive it. We were also talking a little bit off camera. Now you were saying that we could have potentially gotten false knock because, as you'll see in the next video, the other reason I brought the car here was because the supercharger was rubbing on the hood. And just that little bit of rubbing or kind of doing that can...
Yep, yeah, just a little tap noise, anything can create false knock where the computer thinks that the engine's knocking. Centrifugals on the Coyote platform are prone to that regardless, but with it actually physically making contact, it was like just scuffing the the top of the blower on the hood. That or the catch can rattling around next to the blower. It could have had false knock going down the track, which we weren't able to, we weren't logging it, so we don't know for certain, but.
So long story short, Chad needs to start data logging every pass.
That's it.
So the car's healthy. The Mustang doctor over here said I can have fun with it again.
Yep. Yeah, none of this stuff scared me that I saw load or nothing like that.
So next thing is I can finally get to the video I planned for you guys a month ago and have some fun with it, test out the new tires, what it's like to live with a heavily modified car on the daily, all that other stuff. But as for this video, guys, that's going to be a wrap. Once again, if you haven't, follow Blue Sky on all socials and go subscribe to their YouTube channel, because if you think the Mustang's cool, there's a lot more cooler stuff, a lot more cooler redundancy. There's a lot of cool stuff in this shop that you're definitely not going to want to miss. So go subscribe to them. And if you haven't subscribed here, I'd appreciate it if you did. Notifications on so you get all of our content as we release it. But for this video, that's a wrap. Thank you to Jeff. Thank you to Blue Sky. I'll catch you in the next one.